Hi everybody, it's great to see you this morning. My name is Ruth and I'm on the staff team here at St Swithin's. So, we've just heard about the light that is coming. Now I don't know about you, but when I think about Christmas, I get really, really excited. Anybody else? Lovely. I get excited about what is to come, the expectation of choosing gifts, of planning surprises, of eating a lot of good food, and taking rather longer than normal daytime naps. But the best bit about Christmas for me has always been decorating the tree. From a very small age, I've always wanted to put the tree up on the 1st of December. Never been allowed. But knowing that the lights are coming, that moment when you switch on the tree when it's fully decorated and you can't help but go, wow. Does anybody else do that? Great, that's good. So I moved into my own house last year, which meant I could get my Christmas tree when I wanted to. So I experienced the joy of choosing my first ever Christmas tree, and she was called Norma Nordman. I was very excited about taking her home. It took me ages to choose her. I chose the perfect spot for her at home. I threaded the lights on. I added the decorations. I put the star on the top. I stepped back. I switched on the lights, and at the moment of pure joy, I was like, wow, I did that. And a year later, I can still remember how it felt, the build-up, the anticipation, how every time I went home and switched those Christmas lights on, something in my heart just swelled a little bit more, and everything felt so bright. And just talking about it now is making me feel very excited because I'm very behind this year and I'm not getting my tree till this afternoon, but I'm going to be absolutely hyper by the time I get there to pick it this afternoon. So what I need now, I need 2 volunteers, and I'm hoping that Miller, wherever he is, I've already preempted to make sure we're good to be on screen. Come along, Miller, and Rose, if she's up for it. Brilliant. So I would like Miller and Rose to decorate this tree with some lights. Okay, there's one set for Rose and there's one set for Miller. Now I have tested them, they do work. So they're very, very long lights for quite a small tree. So you're going to have to go round and round and round quite a few times. Think you could do that while I carry on chatting? Great, let me come out of the way. Feel free to go down the front, make sure those plugs reach to here, that's the only thing. Okay, otherwise it's going to ruin everything. So, today is the 3rd week of Advent, and every candle so far has pointed towards the light of the world. First the patriarchs, then the prophets, and now John the Baptist. So in today's reading, thank you Hannah, we heard about the people and how they were expecting the Messiah, and they wondered if John the Baptist, oh dear, could be him. Do you need some help or are you okay? Might need an adult to help here. Who's good with lights, Christmas lights? Hannah. Okay, Hannah. You get on in there and just, great. This is helping because I'm going to take these home later and put them on my tree. So they're actually doing all the hard work for me, which is brilliant. So today's reading, we heard how the people were expecting a Messiah, and they wondered if John the Baptist could be him. It tells us in verse 16 that John the Baptist was sent by God to point to the coming of Jesus Christ, who is the light of the world. And in John 1, verse 8, it says that John the Baptist was not the light, but he came that he might bear witness to the light. So John pointed to Jesus Christ, the light that was coming. Just like everything on our Christmas trees, one already to the right here, points towards Christmas. It got me thinking, does my life tell people about Jesus? The light that's coming. Do I live like the light is coming? What about you? Do you live like the light is coming? Do your words, the way you behave, does it make Jesus shine? Wow, look at that. Perfect timing. Now, John the Baptist gave people an idea of what to expect the world to look like when Jesus, the light of the world, came. So in Luke 3, verses 4-6, it says, "The valleys will be filled, the mountains and his hills made level, the curves will be straightened and the rough places made smooth." Now, the best way I can explain this verse, and you're going to have to bear with me on this, is have any of you seen the movie Elf? Yes. Oh, yeah, such a good movie. It's one of my personal favourite Christmas movies. I actually watched it last night. Now, at that point, I'd pretty much sorted out, I thought, what I was going to say this morning. And I was watching Elf, and I randomly was totally reminded in the movie of John the Baptist and the way in which he celebrates the light that is coming. I promise you, there is an absolute link, okay? Stick with me. Okay, so cast your mind back to the movie if you've seen it. Buddy the elf is in the toy store, okay? He is very excited about being in New York, as you would be. And the manager comes over to him and says that Santa's coming tomorrow at 10 a.m. And he goes, Santa? I know him. And the manager's like, right, okay, yeah, he'll be here tomorrow at 10 a.m. He's like, no, but I know Santa. And he gets so excited that Santa is going to be in the store. So after everybody leaves for the evening, Buddy stays behind in the store. You're right there, Miller. I mean, mate, just put them on the tree. I mean, I just get them on there. I mean, do you know, whoa, nicely caught. That is spectacular. Great. Maybe Rose could hold the tree while you sort of, good job. Everybody give Miller and Rose a round of applause. Thank you very much. So, after everybody leaves the store, we're going back to Buddy the elf. Everybody's gone for the night. The store is in darkness. Buddy stays behind in the store, and he spends the whole night turning the toy store into a Christmas wonderland, ready for the arrival of Santa. He knew how important Santa was, and he wanted everyone else to know. So he hung paper chains, he stapled snow to the roof of Santa's hut, he put snow on all the Lego structures, he hung lights, Christmas decorations, the works. All of it pointing to the arrival of Santa. And that's what this Bible verse is saying. The valleys will be filled in, the mountains will be flattened, the curves in the road will be made straight, the roof will be made smooth. We know that the light of the world is coming, so we have to flatten the mountains, fill in all those holes, try and make the path as straight as possible, because we want to see the arrival of the light as soon as we can. We don't want it to get hidden behind anything. We want to announce to the world that the light is coming. You know, these fairy lights, which, seriously, I'm going to turn the tree. Look at that. So these fairy lights, will it stand? Yes. They point, a bit wonky, they point to the light, okay? So that's why I have tree lights, because they point to the fact that the light is coming. But they're not as powerful as the light of the world. They're not as powerful as the light of the world, and that's Jesus. You know, we do a similar thing like Rose and Miller have done this morning. We spend ages, possibly a little bit longer, putting the lights on, and we move them around, and we make sure that like they're not hidden in the branches, and we switch them off, and we check bulbs, and we put them back on again, and we kind of move them around a little bit more, and we spread them out, because we want every single light on the tree to be seen. We want them to shine bright. We don't want them to be hidden away. Why would you have a Christmas tree whose lights are hidden behind the branches? Just wouldn't do it, would you? Why do we hide the coming light from others? So, how are you getting ready for the light that is coming? Following the last 18 months, I hope you would agree that now really isn't the time to be keeping good news to ourselves or to allow the darkness we see around us, or even perhaps the darkness that you are experiencing, to overwhelm. Like, people are looking and they're searching for meaning. They're searching for the light. And we know about Alpha and we know about Youth Alpha and how each week the discussions they have there point to the light of the world. But have you ever actually asked anyone to experience the light for themselves? Now really is the time. People are looking for the light, and all we need to do is to ask a really simple question that will point them towards the light. And it goes like this. Hey, Zoe, have you ever thought about doing the Alpha course? Zoe says no, and so the discussion begins. I can then chat to Zoe about what the Alpha course looks like, what it involves. And all of a sudden, those fairy lights start to point towards the coming light, the light of the world. John the Baptist went from place to place encouraging people to get baptized. And just a couple of weeks ago, you might remember we saw some of our young adults get baptized here in the Lazy Spa Madrid over here somewhere. And it was a brilliant celebration. They publicly showed how Jesus, the light of the world, had changed their lives. Their actions pointed back to Jesus. And their stories were incredible. I've loved hearing over the last few weeks how the children at St. Faith's School have been so excited by their assemblies with, as they call them, Reverend Jim and Reverend Ben, that they've started asking their parents if they can go to church on a Sunday. I think that's incredible. They've seen a glimpse of the light and they want more. Not only that, but they want their families to see it as well. Because once you see the light of the world and how attractive it is, how different it makes everything look, you want more of it. Whether you're 5, 11, 34, or 72, the light of the world is attractive to everyone. And the world needs to know what we know. It needs to know the good news that Jesus offers and how the light of the world changes everything. It says in Isaiah 61 that the good news will bind up the brokenhearted, it will bring freedom to the captives. And I know that when I live in the light and I look to the light and lift my eyes and fix them on Jesus, then the darkness that I sometimes feel that is really overwhelming gets smaller as the light gets bigger and brighter. So the vision we have at Advent is of preparing for the light that is coming, and that light getting brighter and brighter every day. So how are you getting ready for the coming light? Fairy lights are pretty. They give us a warm glow for a few weeks every year. But a light has come that is far brighter, and it brings the best, and it shines all year round. The light that transforms darkness. I want you to think for just a few seconds. I want you to use your imagination. Kids are great at this. I want you to use your imagination and think, what would it look like in our schools, in our workplaces, in our universities, in our city, if we lived a life so in the light that people's lives were transformed, not by anything that we do, but by Jesus, the light of the world, working in us and through us. And I know that might sound like something, I can't do that, that's far too big an ask. But actually, once you see Jesus and the attractiveness of him, that light just shines. After all, a tree is just an ordinary tree until it's dressed for Christmas. Just like I'm an ordinary human being, you're ordinary human beings until we see Jesus. We change when we invite the light of the world to live in us and work through us. So I want to encourage you to think about one thing you could do this week to share the light with others. Through invitation, through prayer, through conversation, how can you share the light with others? Or maybe you need to find the light yourself this morning. But in sharing that light, imagine how at Easter next year, we could have so many more people being baptized. We could have children wanting to come to church. We could have an Alpha group that is totally overrun with people because we've all shared the light this Advent. Amen.